VOC Network here with another unboxing, this time coming from the company Saramonic. And this is one of their latest products that literally just dropped today. This is the BlinkMe wireless mic kit, a dual wireless mic kit for mobile devices with a touchscreen display on pretty much everything, which is pretty cool, and we'll get to that in a second. But what this is a mobile kit for things like DSLRs or anything else that uses a 3.5mm input or some other connections when you're using the right adapters, such as XLR, USB, or USB-C at least, Lightning, and so forth. It doesn't come with all of those adapters, but it does come with what you need to get started with your typical mobile devices like 3.5mm. And this allows you to be able to go out there on the road with a mobile battery included solution here that allows you to capture audio from up to 2 different sources. Now there's nothing new about that in the market. There's a lot of mobile wireless mic kits now, and a lot of them are really starting to get pretty good despite having a very small profile or footprint. But this one takes things up another notch with a bunch of unique features. But first, just talking about some of the more common features, this is a 2.4 gigahertz solution, which means you don't have to play around with frequencies. You don't have to change frequencies or anything. You don't have to scan for frequencies. It's just 2.4 gigahertz between the transmitters and the receiver. It does have a built-in lithium-ion battery that keeps the receiver and the transmitters charged, and has the ability to record at up to 48 kilohertz in 24-bit, as well as some other typical features you find in wireless mic kits for mobile solutions, such as this. But leaning towards some of those unique features, this, again, has touchscreen displays on all 3 of the devices, 2 transmitters, 1 receiver. The transmitters have a 1.3-inch color display, that's touchscreen, and the receiver has a 0.96-inch touchscreen color display, all of which feature a protective glass that they consider Panda Glass, which is kind of like Gorilla Glass, only a different name. So what's cool about that is that it's going to protect these, or at least the screens, from scratches or anything else like you would expect out of a nice mobile phone. And they have some other unique features, such as how they charge. A lot of mobile kits, they typically have some kind of a carrying case, and they all go in the case and charge kind of like wireless earbuds. This takes things a little bit differently, or at least into a little bit of a different direction, and the receiver, it's the transmitters at least attached to the receiver on both sides of the receiver, kind of like hockey pucks all coming together, and it charges everything in one bundle like that. And I mean, that's something you probably haven't seen anywhere else, because I know we haven't. And it's a unique feature that's just Saramonic's design, and you can only find it right here with the BlinkMe series. And what's cool about that is they feature magnetics to be able to pull that off, which a lot of them do, even the charging cases, to hold them in place. But these magnetics also allow Saramonic to provide the ability for you to be able to attach these in various different ways to your hosts, or whoever you're trying to capture audio from, which includes magnetic backs that can attach to the clothing, or to a back with a clip on it, so you can just have a magnet behind the clothing, and then it just attaches to the front, or it could be a clip like a normal lavalier or anything like that. There's various different ways to do it, and they also have a cold shoe mount option as well. And it's just modular. So they offer onboard recording via the microphones. So you have the ability to send it to your audio to your camera, or to an external recording device, or both, because there's 2 different ways to send out audio from this. But they also record internally, so that way you can capture up to 8 gigs of audio captured onto the mics themselves, so that way you have that as a backup in case you need it, or if you want to use that as your main source of audio. And as for the outputs to devices, like I said, you have 2 different ways of outputting to your device. You can do it out of the 3.5mm jack, like is your typical microphone receiver, or you can also come out of the USB-C port, which also charges the device, but you can also use that to plug that into any device that's able to capture audio via USB-C. So now you're able to send at the same time audio to your camera, audio to an external deck, plus it might be recording on board as well, giving you multiple options in case something fails. And of course, the microphones can record in both mono and stereo, so that basically mono just brings everything together in left and right, so you're hearing both on both channels, and then stereo will separate those microphones so that one mic's in the left channel and the other mic's in the right channel, which makes post-edit a lot easier. On top of that, they also have a safety option, which means it records separately onto a safety track that's an extra mono track, just in case something happens to the other feed. But what makes that track a little bit different is it's 6 decibels less. And the whole point of that is if you unknowingly take the audio up a little bit higher than your camera or record deck or anything else you're sending to can handle, or not so much handle, but it's just higher than your gain structure really wants, and that causes it to clip and distort. That safety track automatically records on the side at -6 dB to help try to prevent that. So that way, God forbid, something happens to your audio on your normal or mono stereo feed, you at least have that as a go-to. And to take it one more step with unique features, it has, well, I guess it's not that unique. There are options out there, but how good they sound, that's debatable. Some do really good at this and some don't do so much. And we'll have a demonstration with this in just a moment. But that's noise reduction or noise cancellation, however you want to refer to it, but they refer to it as noise reduction. And they have a dedicated button on the transmitters. They're able to just click and it enables noise reduction mode. So if you're in a noisy environment, unlike the studio here, let's say you're on the show floor somewhere, you're outside, there's kids playing, dogs barking or anything like that, you can hit that noise reduction button and help to eliminate some of that so you can focus on the person you're trying to capture. Again, how good it does at this, well, you'll find out in a moment. For now, we continue to lean into the unique features, and we will get to the unboxing in a moment. There's just a lot of unique features about this one. You have app control, for one, so you can control various different features from the app, including customizing the screen, the actual wallpaper that's on the screen, so you can actually change to whatever you want. You can use, there's predefined wallpapers that you can choose from that are already on the transmitters, or you can just have them time out and just kind of power off. It'll still be recording, but the screen can just go off to go into power saving mode so you can get more battery life out of those transmitters. But you can also add in your own wallpapers as well in case you want to customize things, which is pretty neat. And then you can also customize some of the buttons that are on the transmitters as well using the app. So in case you want to change some of the features around in terms of what does what, you can adjust some of that in the app. In the meantime, the buttons, or at least the defaults, do give you full control over a lot of features in there, including the onboard recording and a noise reduction, and one other feature, you can mute as well by pressing that button in various different ways, the noise reduction button. So you can press it once and you're controlling noise reduction. I believe if you press and hold, that's mute. And then if you double tap the button, that controls the onboard recording. And it could be that I might be off on the double tap and the press and hold between those two, but you have multiple different options with these buttons, and some of this is controllable from the app in case you want to switch it up. And of course, battery life. Battery life is always important when you're going mobile, especially since you can't swap out batteries. So if it doesn't last more than 20 minutes, it doesn't quite help you so much if you have to sit there and shoot something short and then charge it. Of course, thankfully, lithium-ion batteries do provide much better power than your typical alkaline solution. So this offers up to 24 hours in the receiver, so you don't have to really charge a receiver ever, at least during a day's worth of shooting. And then the transmitters can provide up to 9 hours of use each. So that still provides you a pretty decent amount of shooting. So if you're shooting 2 subjects, you can get up to 9 hours. And of course, this depends. Are you using your noise reduction? Are you recording audio, the onboard audio? Things like that will control how much battery life you're going to get out of this. Or if you're just shooting 1 subject, you can just start with 1 microphone. Let's say you have an incredibly long shoot or multiple people all day long, but only one at a time. You can just use your one until you run out and then swap over to the other one. But the receiver, again, holds up to 24 hours and each transmitter up to 9 hours of usage. And then there's the price tag. Now, something like this, if it were to be made by certain companies like Shure or Sennheiser, this is probably going to run you at least $800. Probably a lot more than that. Probably closer to $1,200. But Saramonic has always been a great company when it comes to providing both quality, features, as well as price. So this is only $250. Also, it's, it wouldn't really compare to, obviously, some of your mobile solutions coming from Shure or Sennheiser, but for what it is and what it sounds like, of course, we haven't heard it yet, but we can only assume because we've used a lot of Saramonic products, it probably sounds pretty good for the price, and $250 is not much of a risk to take when it comes to adding new microphones to your inventory. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to open this up, finally, and we're going to see what's in there and what it looks like, and then we'll do a demonstration to see what it sounds like and go through some of the features. So we're going to open this up, And this is something cool that we've been seeing with a few companies now. With Saramonic's one of those, and that is a hard shell carrying case. It's similar to something like a pelican or a seahorse, a little bit more similar to seahorse maybe, but it looks like a pelican case here. So this is gonna really maintain some protection for your devices here. I mean, you can take this and drop this down a staircase. Don't recommend that, but you could technically drop this down the staircase and everything inside is gonna be just fine. So it's always good to have, especially if you're constantly on the go. And to open it, you just have these two latches here, plus you have your air pressure seal here in case you put this on a plane. And on the inside, you have some nice protective foam here, really nice protective foam, plus a custom cut piece of foam here that everything slides into. You have some instructions, and in these instructions, looks like there's a few different things, including some stickers. You have just a little quality certificate. You have 2 Saramonic stickers in case you want to put them on your Pelican, but a bigger Pelican that this Pelican rides into, probably. And you have just a registration form here. And then you have a manual. And you have multiple different languages that it's in, so it's only really just a few pages. Looks like about 10 pages at most. 8 pages, maybe 6 to 8 pages worth of content here, and some specifications that just walks you through using some of the features of the microphone, such as hitting those buttons that I spoke of earlier. Now, I was just kind of guesstimating in terms of which one of those do what, and it looks like I was right. A single press does enable or disable noise reduction, and 2 presses will trigger or disable onboard recording, and then press and hold for 1.5 seconds to enable mute or unmute. And these mics can be muted or unmuted from both the microphone or the receiver as well, so both ends have control over that. So once you remove these out of the case, you see everything presented in front of you. There's a little cardboard box here that's filled with accessories, and then you have your microphones. You have your 2 transmitters, and you have your receiver right here. Now we're gonna go straight to these because these look awesome. They're a pretty good size. I mean, this sits on top of the camera, the screen facing the person behind the camera, and you have your touchscreen. You have your top and bottom here, which is going to be for the pucks or the microphones, which are really small. And then you have, looks like 3 hard base buttons on one side. You have the power button for turning the receiver on and off with, as well as the up and down for volume, for controlling the volume. And then on the other side, you have 3 different ports here. You have your line out, which is gonna go to a 3.5 millimeter jack somewhere else, or if you convert it, you can use any adapter you want. And now, they come with some of the adapters in here, and again, you can buy additional adapters as well to go to things like USB or Lightning. You can get these from Saramonic. They sell these separately as additional optional purchases. Of course, you can also go to Amazon or eBay, shop around. There's tons of different options out there. If it comes from them, it's probably gonna be pretty good quality. Anywhere else, you're probably gonna have to do your own research. But technically, you can adapt to anything you want. You can go out of 3.5 millimeter or from 3.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter, or dual 1/4 inch XLR, RCA, USB-C, Lightning, anything you want. That's the port you're going to be coming out of. And that is the only thing you'll find on the receiver. It's a pretty simple device. And what's also cool is the power button apparently turns when everything's plugged together like this. You have the ability to turn everything all at once just by holding the power button on the receiver. And you just disconnect everything, it triggers, put them on your subject, and you're ready to go. If everything's separate, you can turn each one off separately because each one has a power button individually, so you can always do that and store them separately without having to attach them to turn them on or off. Now, the mics themselves have 2 different buttons, and that's it. You have that power button, and you have that noise reduction button. Now, for the power button, we'll go back to the instructions, so that way I'm saying things right. You can press and hold it for 3 seconds to power on or off, or you can press twice to lock or unlock the screen. And so that way you don't accidentally touch it, or if you put it on your subject, you don't want them playing around with the screen, you can double tap on that power button to lock that screen so they can't adjust anything by accident. And then you have those 3 options coming from the noise reduction button. Everything else is going to be located on this fantastic looking touchscreen that kind of reminds me of a really large watch. In fact, that's actually the best way of describing these, is they look like just a decently thick watch head. And I mean, they're light, so you won't even really notice them on you. It's not as light as a clip-on lav like this, obviously, since it's pretty much your lav and your pack all in one, but for what it is, it's really light for having a battery. And then you have your contact points here, and that's where they're going to attach to the receiver and charge when they're not in use. Everything else, again, is on this fantastic touchscreen, and you can adjust from there, including volume levels and some of your other features. You can also customize the wallpaper by pressing and holding on it, and then sliding up and down, kind of similar to what you would with an Android watch or anything else, only you'd be going left and right with that. But same thing, you press and hold, and you slide to go to the next theme. So you get 2 of these. And then you have the accessories, and that should be all that's in here. Yep. And in the accessories, you don't have to keep the box. In fact, you don't even need this bag, but this bag is nice. But one of those accessories is, indeed, the bag. And this bag is just a drawstring pouch that is very heavily durable. This is a very nice material. And on the inside, you have a separator right here, so that way you can organize things depending on however you want them to be divided, if you want to use that at all. And for some of these accessories, you have 2 windscreens, and these windscreens are obviously, or fur windscreens, are going to be used for when you are using these outside, or let's say wherever these are located, they're in the direct path of that person breathing, or they're just a heavy breather and they like, kind of leaning forward where the mic is and they're breathing into that microphone. You don't want that. So you can use these, and what's really cool about these is that they have little plastic clips in here. So they just push down and onto the microphone just like that. So when you attach it to your subject and they kind of lean forward and blow on it, or they're outside and the wind's hitting it, you're not going to really hear that as much, if at all. And something I do want to point out really quick, which I did realize, is when I went to just go attach this to my shirt, I felt it turn, and to lock these onto place, because these don't use magnets, and you push them in, but you also turn them a little bit to the right, and that's what locks them in place. They're not going anywhere. And then you just kind of turn it to the left, and they pop right out. So this is always good to have, especially when you have a proprietary microphone system like this. You can't just use normal windscreens with these, so that's always good to see that. As for, a lot of magnets here, as for your cables, you have one USB-C to USB, just regular USB cable. This is going to be for charging everything. Again, everything connects together, so all you have to do is plug it into the USB-C port of the receiver and charge that, and it charges all 3 pieces at the same time. So you don't have to worry about 3 different USB-C cables. And then you have one of the most important cables right here. This is a regular 3.5 millimeter connection, and just to point out, these are TRRS. What this means is it just has an extra ring in the connection. Your regular 3.5 millimeter just has 2 black little lines running around it. This one has 3, because this is a tip, which is the end, and ring solution. And this is going to be for, obviously, the receiver here, but also smart devices or anything else that recognizes a TRRS connection. A regular 3.5 millimeter cable, like a headphone jack, is going to be a TRS connection. Again, it's going to have 1 less black line running around it. So you do got to make sure that your device supports a TRRS connection via 3.5 millimeter input like this. And just about every phone or tablet will do that. And laptops, any laptop that has a singular port for both your headphones and your microphone or headset combined, will take a TRRS connection. TRRS, it's kind of a tongue twister. But the appropriate definition or translation of that acronym is tip, ring, sleeve. And the sleeve is the last point here past the 2 rings. And you just have to make sure you can support that, and you'll know really quickly when you connect this to your device if it's going to work or not. If it does not work, you need to simply buy a TRRS to TRS adapter, and then it'll work just fine. Again, you also have other options here, such as USB-C and Lightning, and all you have to do is make sure, if you're not buying these, that whatever you do buy has tip, ring, sleeve, or TRRS 3.5 millimeter to whatever adaptation you're looking to achieve. And then here, this is a really neat accessory, and this is going to be for your phone. So it attaches to the back side of your phone, and so that way you're staring at the screen of your phone, and the camera's pointing outwards if you're shooting something using a mobile device or a mobile smartphone. And then up here is going to be a cold shoe adapter, so you can slide on the microphone right above it. And then on the other side of it, you have just your typical mic threads, so you can attach it to a tripod or anything else, a mount of any sort that uses that adapter. And then you have all of these awesome magnetic adapters here. The first one here is going to be one of those clips. Now, the quality of the design of these it's just really nice. It's definitely durable, it's padded so you're not going to scratch anything. It looks good. Saramonic's name is running across the front here. The clip feels very sturdy. So again, everything's a magnetic design, so all you have to do is just put it right to the back of the unit. Again, it's padded so it's not going to scratch the unit. This turns it into your typical lob solution that's similar to what I'm wearing now, and voila, you're ready to go. So you have two different clips, obviously, because you have two different microphones. But if you want to attach these on your subject, however you wish, without having to worry about clipping onto anything, you have, which is really cool, 4 different magnets. So in case you lose one of these, since they are proprietary, it is a proprietary design. Now, of course, you can use probably any magnet, but these look nice. They're smooth. They're not going to scratch whoever you're miking. They just look really good. And again, they attach to the back. So this, you can use this to attach anywhere you want on your subject. So if that person's wearing, let's say, a dress or anything else that doesn't have any kind of openings like this that you can attach to, or anywhere else that's not going to look awkward, then you can use the magnets to attach them however you wish. Again, you have 4 of these, so that way if you damage 1 or 2 of them or lose them, you at least have alternatives or extras. And then you have one last accessory here, and this is going to be for the receiver. And when I said attaching it to the top of the phone a moment ago, I didn't mean the microphone, I meant the receiver. Just to make sure that I'm clear on that one. You're probably not going to mic the top of your phone. You're going to have your subject mic'd. The receiver is going to go on the back of this. But this is where this comes into play. The receiver one, since it's male-female kind of relationship, where the transmitter has a flat surface here of contacts, the receiver has male counterparts that come out that touch onto that, and then they push in. You don't want to damage those, so the cold shoe adapter does have a little space in there, so make sure you put it over just right so you're never damaging those contact points that are sticking out. And then this would slide onto the smartphone adapter, just like that, so that way your smartphone is receiving the microphones on that end, or you can attach this, obviously, and this is the most common use, to the top of your DSLR or any other camera you're shooting with via its cold shoe. And that is all that it comes with. So you have one solution for this. You have 2 different solutions for the microphones themselves, including clip and or just magnetic form. That's it. Really, it's a simple kit that just looks unique. It's different. It has built-in lithium-ion batteries that last for hours. It's a touchscreen display, so it's going to be really easy to get through all those menus versus trying to dive into them with the tiny little buttons and a hard-to-read screen. This, you have color. In fact, we're going to turn this on now to see what that color screen looks like. You see the Saramonic logo. And then you have, you can actually see my voice right here because you have the audio meter right here above where your volume is set to. Right now it's set to 0 decibels. So you just single press it to bring that back up. You have your battery life up here, which is full. And of course, you have your wireless connectivity to the receiver up here. And then you have a lock. If I double press the power button, it says screen locked. And now nobody can touch that screen. It says press twice to unlock the screen. And of course, you can't do it by touching it. You have to press twice. And it looks like you can't move too fast. You can't go click, click. You have to sit there and go click, click in a calm fashion, and that's what triggers it. If you just do a double click, that's really fast. It just turns the screen off. It registers it as a single click for some reason. For your noise reduction, again, just pressing it once will turn that on or turn that off. It doesn't look like it gives you any kind of notification for that, but if you press and hold it, you'll see the meter will go away because it's muted. And then I'll turn that off, or at least turn the mute off. And if you double tap that, that's going to trigger there it is. A little red dot just applied at the very bottom there that shows that it is also recording on board as well. And I'll turn that off, and that goes away. Single press, again, it doesn't really show the noise reduction kicking on or off. Now looking at the instructions, as you would normally do, the instructions say that there's a little circular icon with white letters in the middle that says NR that is supposed to form on the screen when noise reduction is on, which doesn't seem to be the case. So we might have to go to the app for that. We're going to turn the other one on as well. And again, they boot up pretty quickly. There it goes. It goes right into the microphone. We're going to press it one time, and it doesn't do it on this one either. So you probably have to enable noise reduction, possibly. Actually, before we make any assumptions, we'll go through the screen here. Since it's a touch screen, you have different options here. If you slide from the left or the right, it doesn't do anything, but if you slide down, you have some of your common options. Right now it's in eco mode. We're going to turn that off, and by doing that, it just keeps the screen on, and it just says on now. You have a record option, so you can immediately start recording. You can mute the mic from here, and then you have some settings here with pairing, language, date and time, reset version, and cert info. And then you can scroll up to get rid of that, scroll up again, and you get through some of your quick options. So you have onboard recording, you have noise reduction, TX gain, which is the gain of your transmitter, the volume. You have your brightness of the screen. You have your display, which is just the timeout options. And then you have additional settings here, which aren't really additional. They actually just bring you back to your setting, the same settings that I described a moment ago. So coming over to noise reduction, I'm just going to turn that on. And HD noise reduction is actually on. So it's on. So you don't have to worry about that. And when I switch, and when I go back and hit that noise reduction button, it actually does trigger it in here. So you can actually see it switching modes as I hit that. So it actually is working. It just isn't displaying that icon on the front of the microphone. So this may be because the receiver's not on, could be because I haven't set up the app yet, or maybe it just needs a firmware upgrade. It happens. But the option is working, you just don't see the icon on the screen for whatever reason. And then of course if you press and hold, as I had mentioned, it tells you to download the Saramonic app to quickly customize the wallpaper for your microphone. It looks like you have up to 9 options here. And from here, you also have some fun little graphics here, if you just want them to look more like a watch face and actually shows the time. You have Earth and a few other ones. You can change it where the bar is facing a different direction. And let's just say we want to go with that. You just press and hold, and you're ready to go. And going back to noise reduction, just to confirm, it is enabled, and it's not displaying on this screen either, so it just looks like the icon's not responding for whatever reason. To be perfectly honest, if that's the only bug that needs to be worked on, looks good to me. That's a very simple fix using a firmware update, most likely, so I'd say they're doing pretty good. So we have both of the transmitters on. I'm going to turn on the receiver. Now the receiver obviously has a smaller screen, 0.96 inches, but you can see and read everything clearly here, and it looks like your typical receiver screen. You have your mic 1, mic 2. You can see their individual volumes, so this is obviously number 2. It doesn't say it on here, so you'll just have to keep track on these. Really doesn't matter, as long as both people that you're miking are being picked up. You can always fix the channels in post if you need to, if for some reason you're OCD about who's on left and who's on right. Or you can just, the camera guy looking at this can readjust afterwards, especially since everything's magnetic anyway. And then you have some of your other features on here. Now this is also, it's a touchscreen. You can slide down and you can see your recording mode and RX gain, display, and settings. We're going to go to display, and power savings enabled. We're just going to go to always on, and then just slide up from there. And now that screen's not going to go off on me. I'm not going to have to keep hitting that button. And then scrolling up, I don't think there is anything. Nope. And then pressing shouldn't be anything either, because there's no reason to customize the wallpaper in this because it's not being seen on camera. And of course, if you do not want to see that wallpaper, you just want to see a black screen, then you have energy saving on. If you want to see the wallpaper, you have energy saving off, and you're just seeing the wallpaper. And again, you can customize that however you wish using the app. And then when you're done recording your subject, again, everything just comes together. We're going to remove the little battery covers here. It looks like once you plug it in, once it drops into place, it does turn off. and that one just turned off as well. So you can see the little red light here, it's charging, and the red light here is charging. And that's something I didn't point out earlier with the battery. You know, this is similar to your charging case. It's when they're plugged into here, these are going to start charging. So if you do technically allow one of these to die at 9 hours, you can just plug them in, and the battery bank on this, or at least the battery within the receiver, can also be used to charge these separately so that you can get some extended use, just like you could a carrying case with in your headphones or wireless earbuds. Now, when you do that, of course, the receiver's not going to have its full 24-hour charge, but you're going to at least get more than 9 hours out of these guys, and it's not going to take much for this to charge these and gain a few hours. So when you're not using it and it's just charging, you know, that's it. You can just leave them as is. If you're ready to use them again, as long as this is powered on, all you have to do, or should be able to do, is remove these. They immediately stop charging, and I believe it looks like that doesn't automatically power them on. So if I turn the receiver off, it'll say cancel or power off. I'm going to tell it to power off. It's powered off. When this is powered off, it looks like it does not charge these, so that powers everything off. And if I power this back on, the screen comes on and it goes back to charging, plus it turns these on as well, and they're ready to go. So that's what turns these on. So just simply removing them after they powered off, after connecting them, you do not get that. And, which is very interesting, it now says NR. So noise reduction is enabled on these, I mean, we already knew that it was enabled, but now the icon's enabled. So maybe you don't get the icon until you've turned it off and then turned it back on. But I'm just going to press the button and see what happens. And the icon went away. So that's unique. I'm going to press it again. Icon comes back. So explain that. Chances are that probably had a lot to do with the fact that I turned these on before the receiver instead of turning them on together. So the NR icon does indeed work. And again, plugging it back in turns them both off, and they're currently charging. So that was a very interesting test to confirm something, but we were able to confirm it, and it does work. So bugs are gone. There are no bugs in this, which is always good to see. And so now what we're going to do now is we're going to have our camera guy connect this to the camera. We're going to swap over to this to see what they sound like. One last thing to keep in mind, it has a built-in microphone. These are the microphone. They're your lav and your pack in one, you know, but they do not act as a pack separately if you choose to go with a lavalier like this. These are your only mic. So you can't plug anything into this. These are your mics. So your subject does have to be wearing these in order to make use of this specific kit. So with that being said, and I believe we've covered everything, we're going to get this connected to the camera and we'll get started. So you are now listening to what this microphone sounds like. This is, again, the Saramonic BlinkMe, their brand new mic that just came out, their new mic kit. And it's a perfect example. Our camera did not take a TRRS connection. We already knew that, but we tried it anyway. But we tried connecting to this camera, it didn't work. So maybe it would be good for them to also provide the TRS or TRS to TRS adapter, if that even works. But what we did is we kind of cheated, took the shortcut. The second 3.5 millimeter connection on that is for headphones, so you can monitor from the receiver. And I think I mentioned that earlier. I mentioned that you can do the two outs, the 3.5 coming out and then the USB-C, so that the whole TRS versus TRRS might have distracted me, and I might have missed pointing out the other 3.5 millimeter jack on the receiver, but that's for headphone monitoring. But we happen to have a 3.5 to 3.5 TRS cable sitting right here on one of our tables, so we just took and plugged that into the headphone out and put it into the camera, and it's working just fine. So you can do it from there as well, so that you don't have to specifically get a TRS to TRRS adapter if you don't want to. But right now we're in mono mode. They're both on. You're actually hearing me from both. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to say, yes, I want you to power off. So that way you're not picking me up from two different spots. You're just picking me up from this one. Again, I'm going to be in both left and right channels because we're in stereo mode. Because we're in mono mode. If I switch this to stereo mode, you'll only hear me on the left or right channel. It'll be the right channel because I'm using the B or mic number 2. So if I switch this over to stereo, you'd only hear me on that one side. And then this one will come up on the left side. Again, that's a really good feature to have, especially if you are miking two different people and doing an interview back and forth. Now, so I'm not getting annoying here. I'm going to use one of these magnets instead of just holding it like this, which is kind of weird. And I'm just going to put it on my shirt like this. So now you can hear me, and it's also, I believe, a little bit louder than our lav here. So it's going to come through a little bit louder. We'll probably fix that in post. But I also brought it down a little bit to help compensate for that. But this is a really nice microphone so far. Again, it's a really unique puck-style solution. You can just stick it to somebody, and off you go. And it's really cool. The touchscreen display is really nice. It's great marketing for Saramonic if you just want to use one of their wallpapers, or at least the one that shows their name. But of course, you can use your own. And you can just put your own company logo or anything else if you have a vlog or anything like that. Put the logo on there, so that way you're also using this as one more source of advertisement, just like you would if they're holding mic flags. Like if they're holding mics, handheld mics, where you'd have a mic flag. So if you took any of our interviews at any show floor or any other event that's out there that we've done using wireless handhelds, you always notice that there's a mic flag wrapped around it, that has the company logo running all the way around it. So it's really good to have that extra source of marketing. So definitely make use of this by putting your own wallpaper on there if you want. If not, again, you can always have the screen time out, so that way it just looks like a black puck that's attached to their close. But again, this is what it would sound like if you use one of these mic kits. This is connected to a professional camera system, but it also will connect to anything else as long as you have the right adapter. Again, it comes with a single TRRS to TRRS 3.5 millimeter adapter. So out of the box, it's really kind of, they're obviously, and especially since they're including this, it's kind of obvious that they're pushing for people that use their cell phone for video, and they just need a better audio solution than the microphone that's on the cell phone. With today's modern cell phones, like for example, the S23 Ultra, you can shoot some amazing video, including the latest iPhone and the versions before it. You can shoot some professional video. There's movies and music videos and trailers and all sorts of things that have been captured with some of these flagship smartphones. The only thing you need to finish it off is a professional microphone to make the audio sound just as good as the video. And I didn't even point that out. This whole time, I'm talking on the noise reduction mode. So what you're doing is getting rid of any kind of noise that's in the background. So we'll say office noises, and we'll just play some ambient sound. Let's say you're in a busy environment. All this sound is happening right now. There's it's like a bunch of white noise and other noises in the background that you'd hear from an office. So you hear that room noise, you hear like banging, clicking, scratching noises, people writing, typing, all of that is happening on the phone. And if you're not hearing that right now, that means noise reduction is working. And if my voice is coming in nice and clear without any kind of electric or digital, we'll say, noise or weird little glitches in there that you sometimes get when you're applying a compression or effects onto something that isn't really top of the line, say by like Shure or anything like that, sometimes you get those little digital noises. If you're not hearing that, this is a really good microphone. Now I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to switch this over, actually. We're just going to hit that noise reduction button, and the icon went away. This is without noise reduction. So this is just simply the audio within the studio. You're not given this as a controlled atmosphere. This whole place is controlled acoustically to sound good as we shoot video in this room. So of course it's going to sound good, but at least this is what the environment sounds like, not just me. If I come back over here and play this, now you should be able to hear all this office noise, including my voice, trying to talk over this, and this would be what it looks or would sound like maybe if we shot the video out there where everybody else is at. This is what it sounds like without noise reduction. So if you couldn't hear any of that before, again, this is a good microphone. If my voice sounded just as good with noise reduction on as it does now with noise reduction off, this is a good microphone. So again, this is the Saramonic BlinkMe wireless microphone, dual microphone kit with cool touchscreen display and really user-friendly interface that really allows you to dive into some of these options. It's really cool what it allows you to do from the interface without having to, burrow your way around these tiny little menus and with tiny little buttons. You know, it's very, very user friendly. And with the shortcut buttons of the noise reduction and the power button, it allows you to be able to feel for it and just press physically if you still want to do that without having to use the screen. So if you're in an interview and you're like, oh, I need noise reduction, let me just turn that on, you can do that real quick without even ever having to look down, assuming that you know that it's the lower or lowest button and the higher button is the power button. But again, Saramonic BlinkMe wireless mic kit, $250. Go check them out. We're going to have a full story about this at POCnetwork.net. It should actually be available by the time you're watching this. So definitely go to the website at POCnetwork.net where you'll hear more about this and what we think about the microphone. So go check it out. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and follow us and click the like button as well to let us know that you like this specific video. But subscribe and follow to see some of the other things that we have to come. And of course, all the stuff that we have shot over the years as well, in case there's something else you might want to be educated in and or just get our opinion about. And use the comments as well to share your own thoughts and opinions with us and others. And as always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest and or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.